Hello, ladies. Welcome to the November program. I can't believe I'm saying that. So these are the videos where I show you every workout, every exercise, explain as much as I can, show you the form, give you tips, give you substitutions, modifications to fit any fitness level. Anything to do with the workouts themselves are going to be found in these videos, okay? So we're all watching them on our own time, which is why I'm trying to give you as much information in the videos as possible, because I don't want you to have a question and maybe you're somebody who works out 2 in the morning and I'm not awake to answer your question. So they do have a lot of information in them. I try to make them as detailed as possible because I'm not going to see you in person. I'm not going to see your form. I'm not going to see what you're doing. So I want you to have as much information and detail as possible so that you can perform the exercises correctly and hopefully with no injury, okay? So some of them are a little bit long. I always encourage everybody, if you know something or you've done it before and you're comfortable with it, just skip through, drag through the video until you get to an exercise that you don't know, okay? I don't want you to feel like you're spending all this time on these videos, but at the same time, if you were paying for me one-on-one in a gym, we would spend a lot of time going over form and I would be able to correct you and help you while you were performing it, which I obviously can't do in this type of format. So some of them are a little bit long. Sorry about that. Like I said, if you can skip through, please skip through. So we are on Monday, Halloween, October 31st. And we're starting with a lower body. We have 4, 5, or 6 rounds. You are going to choose. Are you going to do 4 rounds, 5 rounds, or 6 rounds? That is your choice. We're all doing the same number of reps of exercise, which is the number in front of the exercise. And some of these have 1 part, some of them have 2 parts. So I tried to distinguish the parts by the star and the underline, which you'll see under 4, 5, or 6 rounds. So you can tell we only have 1 part to today's workout. So we have single leg weighted bridges, alternating forward lunges or walking lunges, pause squats, which your pause is 3 seconds long, and drop squats. So I'm going to show a quick demonstration of each of the exercises, and then I'm going to go into my detail and breakdown of each one, okay? So we have our single leg weighted bridges. Got my weights, 1 leg up. And then you would switch sides. Alternating lunges or walking lunges, so they're going to be forward. If you have the room in your workout space, it's much easier to just perform a walking lunge. Pause squat 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And drop squat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so starting with our single leg weighted bridges. So it says per in parentheses because that symbolizes both sides. So if it was an arm exercise, it would mean per arm. This is a leg exercise, it means per leg, okay? So 10 with your right leg, 10 with your left leg. And anything that I say weighted means it could be done without weight. So I'll never say weighted bicep curl because you can't do a bicep curl without weight. But a bridge, I would say weighted bridge. You can do it with or without. Squat, I'll probably tell you weighted squat or something along those lines. So that's how you know you can do it with or without weight. And I also will usually just say it anyway. So single leg weighted bridges. I'm going to show it to you without the weight. And then I'll show you how to add it or tell you what you should be doing. Unfortunately, I left my heavier set upstairs, so these are not that big of a difference, but one of them looks taller. So if I tell you in a video, use your heavier weight, you're gonna see my longer weight. And if I say light, it's gonna be my shorter one, okay? So it doesn't matter what weight you use for this. So for your regular bridge, you're gonna be on your back, your knees are bent, and you would normally lift your hips, squeeze your butt, and you would be like this. This is your normal bridge. We're doing a 1 leg bridge, okay? So you're gonna pick 1 leg off the ground, make sure that you're in a comfortable, sturdy stance, and you're gonna press off in the same way, except all the weight is now on that 1 leg and that 1 butt cheek, okay? Down, up, down, and when you switch sides, it's gonna look the same. So it doesn't really matter what the leg in the air is doing. You could keep it straight, you could keep it more bent. It doesn't matter. I just keep it how it feels comfortable, and it doesn't do anything except hang out. So it doesn't really matter. Now, to add the weight, I take my dumbbells and I'm gonna put them in this crease. So see how they stay right there? It's where your leg meets your torso. So they're like that, so they're kind of diagonal. So when you have them sitting like that, all you need to do is take your hand like this and butt the palm of your hand up against the top of the dumbbell, okay? So that you're not really having to necessarily hold it where you're controlling it. You're basically just holding it so it stays in place. So again, same thing. I just now have the dumbbells in those creases to add a little bit of weight to my bridge, okay? So with weight, you can do the same thing without weight. If you find that the one-legged is too difficult, just go ahead and do the regular bridge where both of your feet are on the ground. All right, alternating forward lunges. So as I said in my brief description, you can do this in place as a forward lunge, or if you have the space for it wherever you work out, you can turn it into a walking lunge. So the first thing that you need to know about your lunge is you are going forward, so you're going to take a step forward. Now, when you take that step forward, you should still be able to see both feet. So I'm not taking a step in the same path, which we call tightrope. I'm taking it on a railroad, so I can see both feet. Both toes are pointed forward, my hips are pointed forward, my shoulders are pointed forward. My back foot is up on the toe. So it looks like this from the side, looks like this from the front, okay? Now, to do my lunge, all I'm gonna do is just sink down. So when I sink down, I basically have both legs around a 90-degree angle. So it looks like this from the side. I'm still up on this toe and everything is still pointed forward. My back is upright, so I'm not hunched down into the lunge. I'm staying as straight as I can, and then I push off and return to start, okay? So this is what it's gonna look like. And from the front. So I make sure that when I drop down, that my knees are still going forward. So you don't want your knees to cave inward. You don't want them to be bowed or have like my foot turn or something like that. You want everything to stay as straight as it can and back up. Now, if you have the space, you're just gonna walk with them. So walk, 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 walk. Okay, those are actually easier than stepping out and back, stepping out and back, because when you step forward and then back, all of your motion wants to keep going forward, but you have to stop it to then push off and come backward. So the walking ones are actually a little bit easier than the ones in place. And again, you're gonna alternate. So that's why our number of reps is higher, it's 20, because you're doing it each side alternating. If it were to say per leg, it would be 1, same leg, 2, same leg, 3. Then you would get to 10, then you would switch sides and get to 10. We're alternating, which is why we're counting to 20, 10 per side. 1, switch 2, switch 3, okay? Pause squat. So this one, I should have put weighted and I haven't typed it yet, so maybe it will say by the time you see it, because this is a good one that you can do as like a weighted goblet squat, or you can do it without the weight. So first thing is first, the reason that it is pause and that it says 3 seconds is because when you drop down, you're going to hold it for 3 seconds, 3 or 4 seconds before you stand back up. So a normal squat might look like this. That's about 1 second. With our pause, we're gonna hold it. 1, 2, 3, stand, okay? Now, for the form of your squat, you wanna have your legs shoulder width or a little bit wider apart, and your toes are gonna point totally forward or slightly outturned. They're never gonna be inward, okay? Now, Make sure you have a comfortable stance. You are going to sink your butt down to the ground and think about putting the weight in the heels of your foot. So a lot of times people sink down, they tend to go up on their toes. Your feet should be flat on the ground your entire squat. So think about shifting the weight backward into your butt and then down to the ground. That's, I think, the best way to describe it, and into your heels, okay? So I'm sunken backward. I look like this, and then I'm gonna return. So I'm gonna go down, count to the 3 seconds and return, okay? 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, up, okay? So again, when I go down into my squat, my knees are actually going to be slightly out. Even if my feet aren't, even if my feet are totally forward, usually your knees are gonna slightly bow out. If my feet are turned, then they're definitely gonna be out, okay? So you never want anything to cave inward when you're squatting. When you squat down, you don't want your back to roll forward and make a rounded motion. You don't want to lean really far forward either, even if your back is straight. You don't need to. In your squat, your back should stay as upright as possible. So a lot of times people with their arms like to put them out in front of them, or sometimes I do almost what we call like a praying hand style, where I kind of just have them like this, okay? If you cannot do squats unassisted, you're going to squat to a chair. You obviously can't do the pause because you're already sitting, but you would just do a squat to the chair. So it's called like a box squat basically. So you would sit and stand. Sit and stand. Make sure when you sit that you don't fall back into the chair like you normally would. Keep your squat stance and stand. If you are new to squatting, you're able to bend your knees and load bear the pressure, but you just are new at it and you feel very awkward. You feel like when you go down, am I going far enough? Am I too far? Where am I? You're not sure. You're gonna do the tap and go. So you're still gonna use your chair, but you're going to wait till your butt hits the chair and then stand up. So you're not gonna sit. You're just gonna use the chair as a guide to know when you've gone low enough. So you're gonna hit the chair, stand up, tap, go, tap, go, tap, go. So doing that consistently will help you recognize where you are in space. So eventually when you take the chair away, you're gonna be able to do a squat on your own and you're gonna know, okay, I'm going low enough, or you're gonna have that muscle memory of where you should be, okay? So that might sound weird, but if you are new to squatting, when you start, I guarantee you, anybody I've ever seen always kind of is doing this, like, is that enough? Is that good? They don't know where they are. They don't know what it feels like to do it, so they have no clue if they're going low enough or not. So the tap and go is really good for beginners who are not sure, and eventually over time, your body's gonna build that muscle memory of where you should be in space, okay? So if you need to use it for that reason, that's totally fine. The last thing we have is drop squats. So this is kind of a cardio version of a squat, okay? So we just talked about squats, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to drop down, and you don't have to do the alternating hands, but it's just kind of what makes it fun. It's not that it's fun by any means, but it's kind of just part of it. I don't know. It makes it easier, in my opinion, for the rhythm. So what you're gonna do is you're going to drop down into your squat, but you're actually going to drop low enough where you can touch the ground, okay? So you're gonna drop low enough where you can touch the ground. Notice that I don't reach the ground like this and hunch my back. I keep my back straight and I bend my knees until I get to the ground, okay? So I'm not getting to the ground by means of reaching. I'm getting to the ground by means of bending my knees, okay? So bending your knees, not reaching and rounding for the ground. So I'm going to jump out, touch, up, out, up, out, up, out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? If you are somebody who cannot jump, or that is too much pressure on your knees, you have a couple of options, but one of them that you could do, I'll move my chair forward, is you could just step out to the side, step out to the other side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's gonna be your most basic sub. Everybody should be able to do that if they can't jump. And if you ever have issues with leg day, because you have bad knees, because you can't jump, you can't squat, you can't bend over, any of those things, or it could just be an injury that you happen to be going through, on the Facebook page, there is a pinned post called resource videos. That is where you're gonna see your timer video, how to use it. You're going to see stretches, warm-ups, cool downs. You're gonna see a video that I made called, I think it's called Bad Knees Leg Day Subs, something along those lines. Click that link, watch that video. It's going to give you a ton of exercises that don't require you to bend at all or to bend very little. They're very easy on the knees. So if you are somebody who already knows every leg day I'm gonna have an issue because I can't really do a lot of things with my knees, watch that video and pre-pick some of the exercises that you can do, that you do like, and have them ready so that every time you come across leg day, you can sub out the ones that you already know you can't do with ones that you know you can do, okay? So be proactive, watch that video, please, if you have knee issues, leg issues, anything to do with bending, because you're gonna come across a problem every single time we have leg day, and maybe even some of the full body days. So go through, look at some of those exercises, pick out what you can do, and then have those ready to sub for an instance like this, okay? So if you ever have any questions or you need further subs, you can message me, but that is day 1.